Matt, were you surprised to hear how much Aaron wants to simplify the offense yesterday?
I don't know what that means. So, no, we talked about it. It's just anytime that there's a lack of execution, and certainly we got to coach better, no doubt about it. We've got to put our guys in better positions. Just communication from top down and then out on the field, has got to be better. We got to get everybody on the same page. And then to me, it's more about digging at the details of what we're doing, because I think you could see that, and it falls on everybody. Certainly, again, it always starts with us as coaches, trying to do a better job of getting guys to understand all the little intricacies, because I think that's really what separates a lot of plays in this league. And it really doesn't matter what we do schematically. If we don't block better, it's hard to do anything. And I think that was the number one issue yesterday.
That was going to be my second question too, is what does it mean to simplify the offense? Is that game planning? Is that scheme? Is that what's called?
Yeah, again, I think it's just executing the details. I think there's a lot of things we can do from a technique standpoint that have got to be better. And then I think, just what are we asking our guys to do? That's what you always look at critically. I know every time we come out of a game and you look at every play critically, you always ask yourself, do we give our guys a chance? What is the opposition doing to us that, is trying to take away certain things or whatever it may be. And yesterday, you got to give the Jets a ton of credit, because they went out there and they executed their game plan a lot better than we did. Played a lot more man coverage, probably than what they had shown on tape. And like I've told you guys a million times, we're always prepared for them to go off profile, and they did that. But certainly we didn't move the ball very effectively. We didn't run it very well. Aaron took way too many hits. I think he got hit 8 times, sacked 4 times. So we had too many drop balls, had some costly penalties. We finally break a long run and we get called for a hold. So there's a lot of things that we have to do better collectively. It's not just one person. It's not just one position group. It's everybody.
Matt, I know you had a lot of guys on the offensive line maybe not doing what they were supposed to do, but do you think maybe you need to move Elton inside where he's been so good for you?
I think everything's up for discussion.
Are you going to be getting Sammy back this week? Aaron mentioned yesterday that he was pretty close.
Yeah, we'll see how he's feeling on Wednesday, and we're hopeful that maybe we can open that window.
Did you get any maybe positive news on Randall's ankle? Because I know it looked pretty serious.
No, I think it's gonna, it's not gonna be like a 1-week deal or anything like that. I think he's gonna miss some time, but he definitely avoided serious injury.
I think you'll have to use the 4-week IR.
Yeah, I think we'll see where we're at.
Matt, going back to simplifying things, or at least trying to understand simplification. I know how bright your quarterback is and how smart he is and how you trust everything that he does at the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't say that he's the guy that probably needs things to be simplified, though. Maybe he's talking about some younger guys that are around him. Would it benefit you to maybe run the offense in a more straightforward manner of just here's the call, here's the cam call, and then let's go with it?
We didn't even have, they do such a good job disguising coverage just holding their shells and whatnot. So we had a handful of cans in that game plan, and so I don't think that was the issue. Certainly, we had one early on where we were in a 2-back slot look, and we got the premier look for the play that we wanted, and we lose 4 yards on the play. So I don't think it was the cans per se. I just think that we have to go out there and we got to coach better, and we got to go out there and execute better. We got to play with our fundamentals, trust your teammates, trust trust your training is something that we talk about all the time. And, you know, if you don't, and you're playing against, I think that's a pretty good defense. Certainly they got after us up front. And I don't think they're an overly complicated defense, but I think what they do very well. And if you don't execute to the level that which you're capable of, that's what it looks like. And I mean, that was a pretty poor offensive performance. You know, we had opportunities where we were in scoring position multiple times in that game, and when it came down to some of those critical downs or just some situations, we went backwards when we got into that, you know, field goal range area, you know, the plus 50. So when you go backwards in that position, it's gonna be tough to win games.
As for your defense, any explanation as to why they were so good with stops, and in the last couple of games, stops late have been hard to get?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a concern. I think first of all, you know, when you're talking about our defense, the first 8 drives they had 3 points, and they were put in some bad situations as well. We fumbled the ball on like the 30-yard line or whatever it was. We have a field goal blocked. So like, I thought for the most part our defense played really, really well. It's just when they did get a little bit of momentum, I think it was 2nd and 9, we got beat on a slant for 12 yards. Then they come out, they hit a double move, and then they ran the around for a touchdown. You know, I think that there's so much competitive balance in this league, and you can only expect a defense to hold on for so long before the offense is going to hit you on something. And, you know, bottom line is we had to do more from an offensive perspective. I don't think our defense should be in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so much. Now, once they did get a little bit of momentum, that's where we have to be better and try to do whatever we got to do to refocus the group. But, you know, they were able to, that last drive was pretty disappointing, I would say, to be able to bleed that much time off the clock. And was it a 14-play drive or something like that? But the one thing, and I told you guys this yesterday, was it was pretty impressive to me that we defended, I think it was like 8 plays inside the 4-yard line. When you're down 2 scores and you got no timeouts left, there's like 2 minutes left in the game or whatever it was, for our guys to not allow them in the end zone, I think that says a lot, that they were going to continue to compete all the way to the end. The one thing that we got to clean up is we got hit on a couple runs where, you know, we call them transportation runs, where they're trying to get the ball outside, where they're pinning your edges, they're pulling tackles or guards, tight ends, whoever it may be, and we've got to defend those better because they gutted us on a couple of those runs. But you know, you got to give them credit too, and I think Breece Hall's a damn good back. I think he's got a really bright future in this league. He was able to break a ton of tackles. I don't think we tackled up to our standard. I'm not quite. Was it 10 missed tackles? So we've definitely got to be better. But I thought, by and large, you know, you think when you hold somebody to 1 of 11 on 3rd down conversions, you think you got a pretty good chance of winning the game. So I thought, just from a competitive standpoint, our guys challenging. I was really proud of our effort. I thought Jaire Alexander had an outstanding game. But we got to do it for 4 quarters. And certainly when the offense isn't scoring or moving the ball like we all want it to, it just puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
You mentioned Jaire having an outstanding game. He finally got to travel up the
Yeah.
secondary a little bit. Did you feel like that unlocked some things for him?
Yeah, he just went out there and he competed every play, and he was challenging, contesting. You know, I was super proud of his performance, and quite frankly, for the most part, the entire defense, until we hit like play 33 or whatever it was.
When Ryan asked you, oh, go ahead, Spoon.
What was your impression of what
went wrong with all the stunts and twists and things that they did up there in terms of how you guys handled it? Was
Yeah,
it
we did.
technique or was it physical? Was it communication?
I think it was all the above. I mean, they ran a corner blitz on us, and Elton saw it, communicated that it was coming, and we didn't pick it up. He did. It's just, we need Royce to come with him, and he didn't come with him. So that was just one example. There was many examples of where we just did not. All 11 guys weren't on the same page with some mental errors, and that's what's so discouraging. But I think it's also encouraging at the same time, because these are all correctable mistakes. Now, we got to be diligent in how we go about it and have a sense of urgency in getting this stuff corrected. Otherwise, I'll be singing the same song next week to you guys.
When Ryan asked you right off the bat about the simplification thing, you said you don't even know what that means. I'm guessing that was some tongue-in-cheek there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm wondering if there needs to be, do you have to meet in the middle on this, or I guess how do you handle that going forward, what his desires are and what you would like to do?
Yeah, I don't, first of all, you're going to have to ask Aaron what he meant by that. And second of all, I think that every week when we go through a plan, we are 100% going into the game on the same page. There's nothing that we put in when we put in the game plan without having some communication with him. Because I don't want to put it in if he doesn't feel good about it or uneasy about it. Obviously, you always want your quarterback to be comfortable and confident in the plan. I think that's where it starts. And so, we talk about everything we're going to put in.
So, part of what he said was, quote, very simple plays, no motion. I guess that was at least part of his description of what he was thinking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but you are a big motion guy.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to stir the pot.
I'm serious, I'm not trying to, but that's
Yeah.
a giant hallmark of.
No, I know. The first two drives of the game, I think the only motion we had was we had a halfback go around the quarterback, and they were in man coverage, and the backer went flying out of the box, and we went 3 and out in both those drives. So it's always somewhere in the middle of that stuff. We never want to do anything that's going to confuse our players, and certainly I don't want to put our players in a spot where if why motion if it's going to cause more confusion. I'm with that. We don't want to do that. A lot of it, the time we do it is either to try to gain some sort of an advantage, whether it's getting man zone tells, whether it's maybe gaining some leverage so you can have a different angle on a block. Maybe it's allowing a wide receiver a free release. We don't just do it to do it. Maybe it's to disguise a play that we really like that we've ran a bunch. There's many reasons why you do it, but we're never going to do it just for the sake of doing it. Because I do think there's a balance there, right? Because when you do that, it also will slow down your tempo to some degree as well. So, but bottom line is, got to coach better. We got to go out there and execute better.
So Matt, I asked the same question of him yesterday, and he actually said, "Let me explain it to you." And then he talked about how when you guys have had lulls in past years, it's also when things were too complicated. But I don't want to pussyfoot around this question.
Can you say that?
I think I can. I think it's about cats.
Okay.
Can you? I know what high regard you hold him in. I know how smart he is and what a great player he is. But to some degree, you believe in motion, do you have to just say, we're going to do this because here's the reasons why? I also don't understand shotgun. When you got here, I remember talking to you about how valuable it was that you guys married up your play action fakes with actual runs, which didn't always happen in the previous administration. Yesterday you were shotgun 59 snaps under center for 9. Is that a percentage that you want? Is that what Aaron
It,
wants?
it's, so, going into the game, that's, going into the game, they were heavy middle field open when you got into gun. So our gun run game has gotten so much better that we wanted to try to encourage some of that, because then that's one less hat in the box. So a lot of the plan this week, and that could be something that changes on a weekly basis, but a lot of the plan was to go into this game with more gun runs. And then we had all the actions off of it. Unfortunately, it was just, we were in so many get back on track situations where we couldn't even get into a lot of our actions. So it just, the game plan did not go as we wanted to. It was hard to get us into a real rhythm, you know, and they do a really good job as well when with a lot of the play actions. Traditionally, when we played a lot this style of defense, we haven't carried a ton of them because it's really hard to get their linebackers to step up. They do a really good job of playing lateral and playing with a lot of depth. So the one play action we did run under center late in the game, he threw out to Romeo on the right side. You know, the initial read was gloved because nobody stepped up, and I knew that was a potential for the play. So, but each week is a little bit different in terms of how we're going to attack somebody. But as far as this last game, that was why we did what we did, and also it didn't help the fact that his thumb situation was also played a role into it as well. So unfortunately, it didn't work out. We didn't move the ball very well, and like I said before, we got to do a much better job of staying ahead of the chains, so we stay in those manageable situations, so we're not punting as much as we did.
Matt, is the thumb situation gonna be an issue for a little while here, do you think?
You know, I don't know. We'll see where he said he felt a little bit better, you know, today than versus a week ago. So we'll see where it's at.
A lot of times, the offensive coordinator is a guy who spends a lot of time with the quarterbacks. Your guy is an offensive line. Do you want him to spend more time with your offensive line after this performance? Do you need him to spend a little bit more time over there?
Well, he spends a lot of time with the offensive line, so I don't think it's going to be a drastic change. But we definitely have to look at, you know, what we're doing in that regard, because it hasn't been up to the level that I would say that we've been accustomed to over my tenure here. You know, we haven't performed that poorly in a game up to this point.
Were you planning to go with Jake the rest of the way had he not gotten hurt? Jake Hansen.
Yeah, I mean, that was, you rarely make a switch and then go the other way on it unless he wasn't getting it done. So that was unfortunate for Jake, and, you know, it was a tough one.
Part of the beauty of your offense is the disguise, right? To be able to have a lot of similar looks and run a lot of different riffs and plays off of that. Do you have the personnel right now to be able to execute that at the level that you have in the past? Because you've had a lot of success doing that in the past.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, I think certainly, you know, every year is a new year. You got new challenges. As far as I believe in the guys we have in that locker room, I think it's our job to try to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to put them in position to maximize their talents, and certainly did not do a good enough job of that yesterday. You know, and we got to look at everything that we're doing and what we're asking of guys, and try to put them in a position where they can have success. But it all starts, for me, most of it starts with just getting all 11 guys on the same page, making sure that we're going out there and at least executing with the fundamentals that we practice on a daily basis. And, you know, like I said, we knew going into the game it was going to be absolutely critical to have positive plays. And we had way too many negative plays, or we're in some of those long yardage situations. And anytime you do that against a good defense, it's going to be a long day. And that's exactly what happened yesterday.
You're gonna have your call with Mike You gonna critique his play calling, or is he gonna critique yours today, or?
Yeah. No, I'll talk to him. I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm sure I'll give him a buzz. I talked to him a little bit after the game and got to see him for a minute, and, which is fun. It's never fun when you're on this side of it. And for my own personal experiences, I've been on this side of it way too many times against him. So credit to those guys and what they were able to do.
Talk to Robert yet?
Not today, no.